I think now, just going through a bunch of different life events, I see he was flawed, really. He was kind of like the rough and tumble kid from, Coney Island that scrapped by and scraped by to survive. I mean, when he was 13, his father died, and he had to figure out a way to make money to help support the family. Okay, so my father, when I was pregnant with your dad, with Justin, decided, you know what, I am going to join my brothers and get into the magazine trade or the novelty trade, but it was all adult based. And he actually won a kind of a prestigious deal. He became part owner of Blue Boy magazine, which was the first like gay magazine that was like a Playboy but for gay men. And it was really successful, and that's how he made his living for a long time, doing that, selling novelties, sex toys, dildos, edible underwear, different size vibrators, that kind of thing. But it was all very, very strange at that point, because I think the big backers on that company were shady, maybe mafia people.
I mean, I feel like at one point you told me that it could have been like the crime thing.
It was.
It was?
It was.
It was the crime
Yes,
family.
it was. And yes, and Mr. Brown Cadillac would call, and then Mr. Red Cadillac would call. And the FBI was like right across the street with cameras watching us. Yeah.
They kept tabs on pretty much all of the different businesses. That was something that I was very paranoid about. I was careful, if someone just called up, unsolicited and say, send me something, I would usually not do that. Where other people didn't care, they would just do it.
How did that affect the family?
Well, it was positive because he made so much money for the first time. I mean, really a lot of money. When Justin turned 2, I said to him, are you going to make your grandson sweat it out in the valley? So right away he went and found this beach house for us. And every single time my dad would come by, he would give me $100, and at the time that was a lot. And he always gave Justin walking around money. He leased my car, Uncle John a car, Mom, my brother's car, my sister-in-law's car. The only person that he didn't lease a car for was your dad, because your dad took care of his own car. And they never owned their own place, because my dad, in the Yiddish language, was a gelähmter. If he could break something, he couldn't fix anything. I mean, so it was out of the question. They always rented. My dad was street smart. He was born in the Bronx, but grew up in Coney Island and Brighton Beach. When I was younger, he worked on the boardwalk. And I remember as a kid going on the boardwalk with him, and he knew every single person. So every place we stopped gave me, dolls and stuffed animals and everything. So, yeah.
Do you think that he was a major influence on my dad?
A huge influence. When your dad was born, Zeyde made a habit of stopping by to seeing his grandson every single day, if it was just for 2 minutes to give him a kiss. But the minute your dad started crying at all, Zayde left. He couldn't handle seeing your dad in any kind of distress, you know. Zayde couldn't do enough for your father. He loved him. I've never seen anything like it, really.
Besides his personality, do you think his profession in the adult magazine industry had an influence on my dad and sort of his crude sense of humor?
You know, I probably, but I don't know how much your dad was exposed to that. We tried to keep all that stuff away, while he was growing up. But listen, Zayde had a great sense of humor. He always told what everybody called in Yiddish a Bubameister, which means he made up stories. So half of the time I didn't know if he was telling the truth or it was a made-up story. He had a huge scar, a thick scar going down his stomach. He always told my brother and myself that it was shrapnel from the war. But later I found out it was a gallbladder operation. So those are the kind of stories that we always got.
You've talked very highly of Zayde, and so is Dad. But how do you think your relationship with him differs than John, your brother's relationship with him?
That's interesting. My dad was like really special. I've never seen a father with more patience. I mean, he would devote so much time to us. I think later on in life, my brother had a harder time because he wanted to be more involved in the business, and my dad didn't want him to. So I think it was harder. I think my dad adored me. It was really obvious. But he loved John as well. So that's a hard one. But I think my relationship with him was closer.
Well, growing up, it was probably very similar. We both loved him very dearly. He was a good family man. So he was a really good father. He did everything for us. Took us to the beach. We'd always go out for food. That's probably something that Justin got and from you too, like a foodie. Yeah. So that he always did. He was a really good family man. And that's what we saw growing up.
So you don't think your relationship with him was different from hers?
Well, not in the beginning. Well, I think that because my sister was 5 years older, I think he had more respect for her, and I think I saw probably in the end, towards more of the end, when I was actually working for him and I saw some of the things that he did, I probably was more realistic about what I saw, how he behaved and treated other people.
What kinds of things did you see that shifted your sort of perspective on him?
Well, I saw how he ran the business. Okay, so supposedly it was through a mob-owned thing. I don't know if it was his own business or not. So one of the things he did was to order all kinds of stuff from people and then not pay them back for it. He would just sell it because he knew he would. Yeah, I guess they called that busting out, and he would. And that's what he would do. He owed all these people money, and he just sold their goods and then just kept it because he knew they were going out of business.
And did that catch up to him at any point?
Well, people were not happy with him. Let's put it that way. Well, he ended up losing the business. I lost a lot of respect for him. We were running a mail order business for gay magazines. And there was another man that was a friend of my Uncle Willie's that was working in the same building as us, and he was doing the same thing. I liked him a lot, and he liked me. And then my father made me try to take his names and his business away from him. So after that, I completely lost respect for him. And then the guy himself said, "Look, I'm not mad at you. I know that your father made you do that." So, he knew I was a good person. And because of that, I've always been very honest, a very honest person. I would never cheat anybody out of money or do anything like that. Like I said, he would do anything for his family. It was kind of like like watching gangster movies. Yeah, like The Sopranos or something, you know, and you see all these things where they're great family people, you know, but they end up, you know, hurting other people. Now, I don't think he ever hurt anybody. I don't know that he did, but he was a hustler.
Why is that?
Well, when my mother was sick and I was taking care of her the last 3 years of her life, she said to me, you know, I protected you from your dad all these years, and you're going to have some rude awakenings when I'm gone, and you're going to see a different side of your dad, you know. He's wonderful and I love him, but I've been protecting you. But it wasn't easy for my dad. He was a different man after my mom passed away because she was the love of his life. Everything he did, he just wanted to give her and give the family. That was his big flaw. He would do anything for the family. But I think, you know, I don't know. I think he borrowed money from people after after my mom got sick, and he spent a lot of money and borrowed from people. Yeah, they had a really great life. They really did until my mom got sick. You know, he stopped working completely. He kind of gave up.
What was your mom like?
My mom?
Yeah.
She was, everybody adored my mother, okay? She was funny, she was loving. I mean, everybody will tell you they were her best friends. I mean, she made friends so easily. But when we were home, she could be a little scary. I mean, I think she was a nervous person. So, yeah, she was a Leo, and she was strong. I can never be late for an appointment because my mom always said, that's a sign of hostility to someone. You never do that. So now, I mean, I'm a wreck when it comes to we have to be on time. You know, those kind of things make me really nervous. I'd rather be, you know, a half hour early or 15 minutes early than be 1 minute late, really. So I think that anxiety I definitely got from my mother.
Who do you think had a bigger influence on my dad between Zeyde, my great-grandpa, and Grampy, my grandpa?
I would say Grampy had the biggest influence as far as some personality traits. I think Zeyde gave him a sense of security and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, you know, Grampy was really serious, and he always took his work home and, you know, couldn't be disturbed, you know. And, you know, a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4, 5, 6, 7 is going to disturb you. It never bothered me when that happened, but it definitely bothered your dad. So in that sense, yeah, I think that, you know, I'm probably more like with Zeyde personality-wise than Muddy.
What did Grampy do for work at that time?
He was in the record business. Your dad was very successful.
Yeah.
I mean, your Grampy
Yeah.
was
A lot. Since I was a little kid, you've mixed up calling me Justin.
I can't help it because you're so much like really growing up what your dad was like. Just best personality ever, you know. And I got, you know, it's almost like your dad grew up and he has his family, and now I get to do it all over again with you. And you and I are so close. We're so much alike in so many ways. And we've always had the most amazing communication.
Yeah.
And I adore you, you know that. I think it just comes from because I love you both so much. And it's interesting because when your dad used to visit my dad when he was in the assisted living place, the same thing happened with my dad. He called your dad Reese. But if you look at pictures of them at different stages of their life, oh my gosh, I mean, they look identical, really.
Yeah, I mean, the same kind of goes for me and my dad when you look at pictures of us.
Really. I mean, sometimes I look at, you know, like when you were 2 years old and when your dad was 2 years old, it's like, wait a second, who is that? Oh, that's Justin and that's Bowie, you know.